Marley was dead to begin with. No, we're not doing that one again. I have written other Christmas stories, you know. The Chimes, The Cricket on the Hearth, and there was also my 5th Christmas book, The Haunted Man. It turns out that I was the haunted man. Yes, I was writing about myself, not for the first time, and not for the last. Haunted by what? By my past, my childhood. I regarded those months I spent working in a blacking warehouse as my darkest, most shameful secret. The memory of that time haunted me, but it was also the making of me. If I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't have been half the writer I was. One last note, before I commence this tale. You may also be aware that, during my lifetime, I harboured ambitions to be an actor. So, I hope you will forgive me if, during the course of this production, I not only narrate, but also perform 1 or 2 roles. Your indulgence is appreciated. And so, let us begin. The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain. A Fancy for Christmas Time. By me, Charles Dickens. Everybody said he looked like a haunted man. His hollow cheek, his sunken, brilliant eye, his black-attired figure, his grizzled hair hanging like tangled seaweed, his manner taciturn and distant, as though forever listening to some old echoes of a bygone time. We find him late one Christmas Eve, working alone in his chamber, a small, dark room, part library, part laboratory, somewhere in the depths of an ancient college of the great city.
Yes, what is it? Come in.
Your dinner, Mr. Redlaw.
It's a little late. Mrs. Swidger should have brought it an hour ago.
My apologies, sir. But you may be aware that the wind today has been quite strong, to the point that it has blown my wife off her legs a number of times.
Yes, well, I have heard the wind in the chimney. Please come in. Put the tray down.
Indeed. It's a mercy Mrs. Swidger got home at all, Mr. Redlaw. And when she did, she was so out of sorts, I thought it best to deputise for her. So, here I am.
That much is apparent, Mr. Swidger. You may set out the table.
She already has so much on her plate. There are so many of us Swidgers. Pepper. There's my father, sir, the superannuated keeper and custodian of this institution. He's a Swidger. Spoon.
I am familiar with the gentleman.
Then there's his successor, my unworthy self. Salt. And my wife, Swidgers both. Then, what with cousins, uncles, aunts and whatnot, there are so many of us we might tumbler, make a ring around England. Indeed, it may be said that there are enough Swidgers in the world without myself and Mrs. Swidger making another contribution.
You have not been blessed.
There is no child's voice to be heard in the lodge, much as we might wish it. But my father's a family in himself. Are you ready for the fowl and potatoes?
Quite ready.
However, there's a motherly feeling in Mrs. Swidger's breast. And if she wasn't already satisfied, being a sort of mother to all the young gentlemen who attend this ancient foundation, Swidge, they call her. But they mean it out of affection. So I say let them call her Swidge, Widge or Hammersmith Suspension Bridge if they so wish.
But I would prefer it if my husband called me Millie, as that is my name.
My dear, I thought you were going to put your feet up.
And I would have done, if you hadn't forgotten the gravy in the butterboat.
Mrs. Swidger, there really was no need for you to risk being blown off your feet again.
But I had another to serve as my buttress. The keeper of the college.
Father, what are you doing here?
I have brought this for Mr. Redlaw.
A sprig of holly?
Yes, sir. For decoration to mark the season.
Yes. Another entry in the logbook of recollection. Till death idly jumbles all together and rubs it all out.
But what a logbook of every Merry Christmas and every Happy New Year. I've had a pretty many of them in my time. I'm 87, you know.
So, this sprig of holly recalls when many of the old years were new, does it?
Oh, yes, very many. I'm 87 after all.
And they were all merry and happy, were they?
The earliest I remember was when I was no higher than this table. I remember walking with my mother. She told me the berries were food for birds. And I remember thinking that must be what made their eyes so bright. And that was over 80 years ago, because I'm
87, yeah.
And I remember my dear wife, Grace, and my other son, George, when their faces shone as bright as these berries. Even though my Grace is gone, I see her when she was my young bride. And George, though he has fallen very low, I see as an innocent little boy. It's a blessed thing to me at my age of 87.
You're 87? How extraordinary. I had no idea.
And I remember when I first came here upwards of 50 years ago, which must be, more than half a century ago now.
Oh, God.
I think you're right, Father.
And it was a great pleasure to learn that one of this college's founders from the time of Queen Elizabeth left a bequest for us to buy holly to garnish the walls and windows every Christmas, which is why I come to be here with this sprig of holly.
And now we are back where we started.
And I thank him for it. As I go around the building, freshening up the bare rooms, it freshens up my bare old brain. One year brings back another, and another, and another. And I've had a pretty many, as I'm 87.
Yes, that particular fact hadn't slipped my mind. But if I may.
Oh, of course. You wish to be left alone.
No, wait. I'm sorry, but... Mr. Swidger, you didn't finish your statement.
My statement, sir?
You were singing Mrs. Swidger's praises and said, if she wasn't already satisfied... But you didn't resolve the thought. If she wasn't already what?
I only meant to say, if she wasn't already satisfied, she has arranged lodgings for one of your students down in the building.
What student?
Just a young gentleman who's very poor and too ill to go home. I've arranged for him to stay in Jerusalem buildings. That's all, sir.
That's all? Well, if he's one of my students, I should have been informed. Very poor, you say? And ill? Which house? What number?
You can't go there, sir.
Can't go there? Why ever not?
The fact of the matter is, sir, that the young gentleman took Mrs. Swidger into his confidence.
The young men, they trust me, sir, because they know I would never, could never betray their trust. And the young gentleman quite specifically said that he did not wish to be known to you or receive any help from you.
He quite specifically said that? Why?
I don't know, sir, and I did not think to ask. All I know is that he's poor and lonely, and how dark it is in here.
Mr. Swidger, if you could stoke the fire to give us more light. Mrs. Swidger, go on.
I was only going to say, he muttered in his sleep yesterday about some great wrong that could never be forgotten. But if it was a wrong done to him or to another, I do not know.
You see, Mr. Redlaw, that's why I was singing my Millie's praises. As if she hasn't got enough on her plate looking after me and my father.
Yes, may heaven keep Mrs. Swidger happy, and you, Mr. Swidger, and your father, in what I believe is his 87th year. I must consider what to do regarding this student, but shall detain you no longer.
As you wish. Good night, Mr. Redlaw.
Good night.
And a Merry Christmas.
Once they have gone, Redlaw returns to his chair by the fireside, gazing into the flickering flames. He doesn't notice as the sprig of holly on the mantel withers away or as the shadow thickens behind him, and, by some unreal, unsubstantial process, forms into an awful likeness of himself. It has his features, his eyes, his grizzled hair, but is ghastly and cold, with the grey, waxy skin of a corpse. The dread companion of the haunted man. As the phantom leans upon the back of Redlaw's chair, he becomes aware of its presence, but is not perturbed by it in the least.
Here again? Here again. Why do you come tonight to haunt me?
I come as I am called.
No, you come unbidden.
So be it. It is enough. I am here. Turn and look upon me.
You have my form.
I am he, neglected in his youth, who strove and suffered to hew out knowledge from the mine where it was buried.
I am that man.
I am he, who grew up without love, but who, in my struggle upward, found a friend, a gentleman, by the name of Longford.
Friend? Gentleman?
Yes, a friend. We worked together for so many years, side by side, and all the love that I had, I bestowed upon him.
Not all.
No, not all. I had a sister, Martha.
Yes. Had.
How young she was, how fair, how loving.
I still see her. In the fire. Hear her in music, in the wind, in the dead stillness of night.
Do you think Longford ever truly loved her? I think he did once, but not as much as she loved him.
It would have been better if she had loved him less. I wish it could be blotted from my memory.
And another love arose in my heart for a young lady called Clemency.
Redlaw.
Clemency. She still haunts me, too. In the fire. The music and the wind and the dead stillness of the night.
I was too lowly to bind her to me. But how hard I worked to correct that shortcoming, driven by visions of a future together.
Visions. Delusions.
Indeed, as they turned out. When my best friend, Longford, abandoned my sister and took my love, Clemency, for himself, all my dreams were shattered.
And those of my sister. After what he did to her and what he did to me, she died of a broken heart.
How well I remember. How could I forget?
And Clemency? I sometimes wonder if she had ever truly loved me. If she had, what made her turn to him? And what made Longford turn to her in betrayal of our friendship? You know, there are some wounds that time cannot heal. If only I could forget.
If only I could forget. If only I could forget.
Spirit, do not mock me. It is not a selfish thought. It is not something I wish only for myself.
No.
All men have their sorrows, their wrongs, and their troubles. Who would not wish to be freed of this burden?
Who would not be made happier and better?
You echo not only my appearance, Phantom, you echo the thoughts in my mind.
Then, consider this offer. You can forget all your sorrows, wrongs, and troubles.
I can.
I have the power to cancel their remembrance.